Several hours later, in early afternoon, they exit the forest into a glen centered around a stone tower topped with a copper cone. Surrounding the tower is a circle of smaller pillars, made of metal and topped with copper spheres. The ground between the pillars and the tower is barren dirt. The group find that tossing coins beyond the pillars causes an electric discharge to melt them. Then they each check for what metal they are wearing. Jack, having only a cloak, is volunteered to go through to see if non-metal triggers the defense mechanism. The copper spheres glow blue as Jack approaches and breaks into a run. As he passes them, electricity arcs out, narrowly missing him. Once he is beyond the pillars, the copper spheres glow red, and a copper automaton emerges from the base of the stone tower. It charges Jack and is soon followed by several more just like it. Robin takes her flying broom and goes far above the pillars and tries to break in through the roof. On the top floor, she can see papers strewn across the floor, glass vials and beakers shattered, and dry stains on the floor. Palantir orders Ramington to assist Jack, but Ramington doesn't want to go near the electric pillars. When Palantir insists, Ramington goes into a rage and charges, slamming into one of the pillars and bending the metal at a 45-degree angle. Instead of going to help Jack, Ramington is distracted by the pain and charges at another pillar in retaliation, then another, until Palantir calls him back to stand guard at the doorway to the stone tower. Kator shouts,
Stop attacking! Don't destroy the tower defenses! Don't destroy the things that have been defending the most valuable researcher on the continent!
The ranger sprints past the electric pillars and automatons, through the door and up the staircase, repeating,
Jenga! Don't shoot! Pineapple! Ceasefire!
Jack fights against the automatons assaulting him. Palantir charges in, completely ignoring the door, and strikes directly at the automatons. Elsa hesitates, then follows Kator, but stops at the doorway to repeatedly kick some metal men in the faces. As Robin pries open a small hole and realizes the effort is futile, Ramington arrives at the tower at full speed and slams into the doorway that is 3 sizes too small for his shoulders. The entire tower shakes and small chips of stone fall from the ceiling onto Elsa and Palantir, who are now stuck inside. Elsa having a sharp horn stop mere inches from her face. She stares at the doorway and sees 2 automatons crushed to pieces on either side of Ramington's head, their bodies further clogging the only doorway. Kator passes by a book on a pedestal with a dry ink spill on the floor before heading up to the 4th floor. He is on the staircase when he feels the floor shake and narrowly avoids falling down.
We are all going to die here.
He says aloud. Up on the 4th floor, he sees a giant lever and a black portal. He runs toward the lever and hears a screech as an unexpected old friend jumps on his back. Dobby squeals.
Master, it has been so long. I tried to find you, but then I found new master and he needed help. So I went with him and he brought me here and...
Another lurch shifts the floor and causes some of the exterior wall to crumble. Kator reaches the lever and shuts it off, disabling the electric pillars and automatons. Downstairs, Elsa had been trying to convince Ramington to back up, but Palantir had already ascended the staircase. Ramington lifted his head to try to look to the top of the staircase, which lifted the top of the door frame with it. Elsa, seeing the constructs disabled and fearing the collapse of the tower, finds a window and jumps outside. Dobby continues explaining that his new master was the researcher the pilgrims were looking for, and that he was very smart and had constructed all the electrical equipment around the tower, including the black portal.
He went through the portal, following the instructions from the book on the pedestal, but he never came back.
When did he leave?
Asks Kator.
11 meals ago. I always cooked his meals for him, and cleaned too. That's part of the help he needed. He needed help with other things to carrying things and holding nails while he hammered, or fetching tools while he worked on the machines.
Dobby continued ranting, and Palantir heard from downstairs, grabbing the book and continuing upward. Kator, seeing the walls crumble around him, figured that the portal might be lost forever if the tower collapses, and he was better off on the other side if that happened. With Dobby cradled in his arms like a toddler, he ran through the black portal. Palantir saw this from the staircase and ran in after him. Robin attempted to smash through the window and fly across the room into the portal, but her broom got caught on the ledge, and she fell, tumbling into it instead. Outside, Jack sees Ramington try to move his shoulders to get comfortable, causing chunks of wall to bulge and bricks to begin tumbling off from all sides. Windows shatter all up the tower, and Jack hastily casts manufacture to have 80 spectral servants use Elsa's stoneworking expertise to construct scaffolding around the tower, supporting the weight and preventing collapse. On the other side of the portal, the adventurers are confronted with a dark skyscape over a grey, dusty island floating in empty space. On the far side of the island is a temple, with 4 windows shaped as different moon phases. Behind them, the portal flickers, and they worry they will be unable to return home. Palantir prays to the war gods, and they tell him to leave quickly from this evil place. Kator goes inside and finds headless skeletons with broken armor and gnawing marks on their bones. In front of the benches, there is a raised stage with an altar. Kator and Palantir approach the altar and see there is an indentation of a kite shield, with a further indentation of a crescent moon, which seems like it could be an adornment on a ceremonial shield meant to fit in the altar. Not confident in their first idea, they try to use the windows to shine a crescent moon-shaped light onto the indentation of the altar. Robin climbs up to the crescent-shaped window with a torch, but the beam of light disperses before it gets across the room to the altar. The group begin to leave, unsure what awaits them on the other side of the portal. As they walk, a booming voice rings through their heads.
Hiding will do you no good, Earthlings.
Robin runs for the portal. Dobby runs behind her, screaming and screeching. Palantir drops to his knees and prays once more.
Discretion is the better part of valor,
Say the war gods. Kator pulls on Palantir's shoulder, and they begin running together toward the portal.
Run back to your plane while you can. I will be there soon,
Says the immaterial voice menacingly. Once they pass through the portal, they get out of the tower as quickly as they can, as the invisible servants continue their work.
Dobby!
Exclaims Elsa as she grabs him for a hug.
Mistress, I've missed you so much.
He says as he bumps up against the beer stein nestled in Elsa's cleavage.
Look at how amazing I am.
Elsa says, gesturing to the 80 spectral copies of herself that are still busily making sure the tower doesn't collapse.
Yes, mistress, truly amazing.
I hope whatever horrors the electric fence was keeping away aren't worse than the endless supply of automatons. Why did you keep killing them? Why did you start killing them? Wasn't it obvious they were defending the tower? Didn't we just talk about non-violent solutions last night?
Kator exasperates,
I was killing them to buy you time to shut off the power. You're welcome.
says Palantir.
And why didn't you stay on ground floor to control your woolly rhino? He could have killed us all and toppled the tower along with the world's last hope of ending the red infection.
Argues Kator.
I told him to guard the door. It's not my fault he did that by jamming himself into the door.
Says Palantir.
Ugh. And why didn't you stay behind to correct him instead of charging up the stairs?
Kator says more quietly, clearly fatigued by the new companion of the pilgrims. In all the commotion, they did not notice that Robin never came out of this side of the portal. While Elsa is berating the elves for their refusal to go back in, a stranger approaches from the forest. A half-elf wearing robes and glasses, carrying several books, asks,
Are you the resident of this research facility?
Cornelius is a bookworm who is better at sneaking than most. He was sent to assist a researcher who had found an unstable portal and built a tower to surround it and study it. While Jack and Elsa speak with the newcomer, Cornelius Maximus, the others look more closely at the portal. Nick says,
I don't do portals.
then notices a transparent image of the portal, slightly off from where the actual portal is.
Jack, I think I know how to get through the ghost portal.
He says, brandishing a dagger and walking menacingly towards the wizard.
But I'm going to have to kill you, because only ghosts can go through a ghost portal. I'll shove this dagger up your butthole.
That isn't a ghost portal. That's where the portal is supposed to be. It would still be there if not for our woolly friend.
Says Kator. Cornelius reveals a book he was supposed to deliver to the researcher at this tower, and Jack says he wants to read it. Cornelius uses the spell knock to unlock it, which causes a loud noise to boom out in all directions. The elves are deafened for a few minutes, and the other pilgrims can hear the sound echoing off the trees in the distance. After deciding against traveling by portal, the group sit down at a campfire and look for something to eat,
All my food was in the bag of holding.
says Kator.
We could always eat Dobby.
Says Elza,
Ramington would feed us for longer.
says Kator.
Don't you dare eat my rhino.
Shouts Palanthea. Nix decides to try going through the portal despite his earlier objections and jumps through as it flickers, ending up 100 feet away at the same height. Luckily, Nix knew how to turn into a bird and was able to land safely. Unluckily, part of his backpack was sheared cleanly off in the portal, and his stone penis was now missing 20% of its width and was no longer round.
And that's why I don't do portals.
While eating, Jack and Cornelius are able to read parts of the unlocked book and parts of the researcher's book to the group.
Anomaly. SCP-Alpha, Temple to Unknown Divine Entity, placement of enchanted article requires specific personnel. It came to pass that 2 individuals brought the shield. One was Guardian of Life, who was once dead. The other was a warrior cleric/priest of war, whom fights to make the chosen strong enough to live.
SCP-Alpha refers to the portal up in the tower. It is supposed to require constant surveillance by at least 2 researchers.
Explains Cornelius.
According to these notes, the unknown divine entity has now been identified as Khorne, and that this tower may be what the book calls a fixed point in time.
It has notes on the 2 shield bearers here. To bring him back, you must cross the bridge to the dinner table of the king with one eye. Then the other one says, possibly a cleric to Khorne. That's strange, isn't it? A cleric to Khorne, working as the shield bearer to bring an enchanted shield to this portal, and then place it in the altar. If placing the shield was serving Khorne, that would make sense. But if placing the shield is fighting against Khorne, then why would one of his clerics be fighting against him?
Well, that certainly sounds like the 2 shield bearers are Bjorn and Lorgar,
says Kator. Nix jumps up, takes a deep breath, and shouts as loudly as he can.
Punching things sucks.
A faint echo of thunder in the distance seems to respond.
I thought Lorgar was contractually obligated to refute that whenever it was said,
says Nix. Dobby, having his ears badly damaged by the repeated loud noises of knock and shouting, cries and complains for people to quiet down. He jumps up and smacks Nix in the neck, sternum and hip with the butt of a dagger, causing Nix to fall to one knee. Palanthea stands up to Dobby, and Dobby assumes a fighting stance, one that Elza sees as more advanced than any monk she's seen, and one that Kator recognizes as a fight master.
I'm 200 years older than the last time I saw the pilgrims, and I've spent that time training,
says Dobby. Palanthea continues to egg him on until a slash appears on Palanthea's chest and a piece of cloth falls from Dobby's dagger tip. No one saw him move, but the fabric matches Palanthea's coat.
If I didn't need you alive, I would have killed Ramington a long time ago,
says Kator to Palanthea before walking out into the forest alone. The others find food in the basement of the tower and load up the Ramington's saddlebags. Nick sleeps in one of them, and Dobby dives into the stew pot to drink his fill, with his feet flailing in the air. In the morning, Dobby serves breakfast, specially made to each person's liking, and Kator returns from his night alone. They all head northwest, aiming for Rapido. Along the journey, Palanthea and Jack catch up as old friends do.
Bob's dead. He tried to eat a live orc when he was drunk.
Everyone knows you have to slow boil an orc to get rid of the toxins,
replies Jack.
This is the most exciting thing I've done in 16 years,
says Cornelius.
What happened 16 years ago?
Asks Elza.
I lost my virginity.
Cornelius says, without breaking stride.
Wait, the trees are shimmering. It's probably forest nymphs. Don't attack,
says Kator. Just as the words leave his lips, 2 arrows puncture his armor in the chest and shoulder.
Peace, no violence.
Kator shouts in Elvish, hoping to calm down the attackers.
There is some sort of animal keeping them hidden,
says Cornelius. Elza catches an arrow and throws it back at the shooter.
Ow, fuck.
Did Lorgar send you?
Asks Jack. Then a displacer beast, an 8-legged panther with tentacles growing out of its back, wearing a chained collar, charges towards the pilgrims.
Aw, fuck, who's this? The monk is supposed to be a halfling,
says one of the snipers. Kator gets slashed from the side as he sees the beast in front of him, slashing at thin air. Thinking quickly, he uses his other senses to grab onto the air where the collar ought to be. The claws he saw in front of him were really at his side. His hand wraps around metal and burns with frost, but he keeps his grip. Palantir flails his swords around, hitting the beast and Cater's arm.
Shoot her!
I don't wanna.
She's a monk. What else are you going to do?
All right.
One of the snipers releases another arrow, only for Elsa to catch it and throw it back, sticking into his shoulder.
I don't feel so good.
He says as the poison tipper arrows take effect. Jack uses spells to make his voice boom and sound scary while being invisible himself.
Surrender and die.
I don't want to surrender then die.
Screams one of the snipers.
Why the fuck did you tell me to shoot it? It's a monk. You know what they can. Oh, fuck.
Remington charges and knocks over a giant tree, crushing the hesitant sniper to death and breaking the shoulder and elbow of the other.
Run!
Says Elsa to the survivor, and he drops a smoke bomb and runs as fast as he can. Nyx turns into a giant boar and sits on the invisible displacer beast. As its bones shatter beneath the weight, the collar turns to dust in Cater's hand, and he notices his magical ring on that hand also turns to dust and sprinkles the ground. Jack finds a contract on the dead sniper, carved into leather, it says.
The leader Cator, the brute fella near, the buffoon wizard Jack Spriggard, the shifty thief Tilly, the thieves' guild enforcer Thok, the halfling monk Silent Fee, and the elderly gnome druid Gus. The one who returns their heads shall be rewarded with gold.
At the bottom is branded into the leather a symbol of a skull on a throne. The leather is scratched out where the numbers were, and it seems really fresh. Jack inspects it more closely and sees it is not animal leather, but made from the back of a humanoid. He mends the leather to get rid of the carved message and tosses it to the ground, eager to wash his hands. Still shaking slightly, he walks past Cator and says,
Displacer beast, non-sentient, go ahead and skin it. It's worth money.
Cator nods and goes about his work. Palantir tries to offer a healing potion, but Cator stares him in the eyes and casts cure wounds on the blade cut in his forearm, then resumes skinning the beast, with arrows still protruding from his armor. 6 hours of walking later, the pilgrims notice the sun is setting.